We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. 1 month ago, we stood here and promised that if we were not given audience, we would return with more people, that we would organize around this nation. I stand with brothers and sisters of faith today to say that we have returned, that we have organized, and that we still seek to meet with Ambassador Nishimiya in hopes that he will work with us and communicate with others to see that the gross injustice that is going on in Japan will end. We desire for them to protect the human rights of all citizens, and those who are citizens of Japan deserve nothing less than citizens anywhere in the world. Ambassador Nishimiya and local authorities in Japan are refusing to recognize the importance of human rights and religious freedom, and the fact that we speak for the innocent, the victims who are not able to speak for themselves because they are being held as criminals, prisoners, though they are not criminals. People are joining to stand with us, and we will not stop. Let the message go to the office of the ambassador today. We are not going away. We will not be hindered. We will not be set back. The time has come to stand up, not shut up. And we're going to stand forth and shout with loud voices over and over again, not only so that we are heard, but so that justice may roll. We shall overcome. Why has there been no one prosecuted for such injustices, for such crimes? We want to thank those of the Network of Korea, the SBS, for honestly investigating and looking into the issue carefully, for making us aware of all that is transpiring. That vision, that sight has inspired us to rally. So I ask you who have joined us to once again say to Japan and say to the world, in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Let freedom ring.
Let freedom ring.
We shall overcome.
We shall overcome.
Let freedom ring.
Let freedom ring.
We shall overcome.
We shall overcome.
Today, tomorrow, and in the days to come, we shall overcome.
Our coalition against this Japanese abduction has given civic and faith leaders in Japan consulates across the nation to ask that the human rights abuse and imprisonment, abuse of people's faith, it must be stopped now. It must be stopped now. We're calling upon the Japanese leaders and the good people of Japan to stop these violations now. We have also confirmed that hatred, prejudice, bigotry are driving the injustices against members of the Unification Church because of their leader, the Reverend Sun Myung Moon, in Korea, and because of their spouses that are Korean. The recent Korean network SBS documentary showed a strong anti-Korean sentiment that is being prompted among these criminals that are hired by misguided relatives. Today, every consulate in America is given a letter and a chance to show concern for these human rights in Japan. May God be with us.
We're here this morning to stand up for the rights of our brothers and sisters who are suffering in Japan. Over 4,300 Unification Church members of my church in Japan have been persecuted have been held against their will. Here in America, we stand for freedom of religion. Amen. Here in America, we fought the battle in the Unification Church and won against criminal deprogramming, kidnapping, and faith breaking in the 70s and 80s. And we will fight for the rights of brothers and sisters around the world to worship in freedom. Amen.
We are very disturbed and outraged by these violations of religious freedom and human rights in Japan, which have been going on for the last 2 decades, especially since at least half of the victims involved are women, mothers, daughters, even older women. These women we're talking about were not only abducted against their will, secretly confined for months, sometimes for years on end, but also suffered horrible physical abuse, beatings, spiritual humiliation, and what is worse for any woman, it is rape. We have to report that in one case, a woman was raped up to 32 times. 32 times, imagine that. And so she will never be able to face her family or a faith community. In one more case, the woman who was raped several times committed suicide. One suicide is one suicide too many. And such abuses must not be tolerated. Therefore, as women of peace, women for peace, we call upon the Japanese consulate to ensure that the Japanese government will take action and make sure justice is being done today. Thank you.
We don't want to say victim. We want to say survivor. We are survived from the illegal confinement. We've been persecuted. Not only us, 4,300 unificationists being kidnapped and confinement. I cannot stand that. I stand up here to stop abduction there. So I introduce today to sister here. Please listen their experience, their testimony here.
My parents kidnapped me 5 times.